Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today are the arteries of the neck. So let's go ahead and get started. And if you recall from the last time, we were talking about the aortic arch. So if I were to draw my aortic arch down here, if you recall, I had something coming off, and this was called the brachiocephalic trunk, which was right here. Then we said coming off the brachiocephalic trunk, we had the right common carotid, which I'm going to write way up here. We have the right common carotid. And then we had the right vertebral artery. Okay? And then, coming off of the middle, we had our left common carotid. And remember, these are all arteries. So we had our left common carotid artery. And then coming off the coming off the left, and remember, this goes by the patient's side. Your left common carotid is on your left side. That's why it looks like I'm looking to the right, but I'm pointing to the, it looks like, I'm looking to the right, but I'm saying left. That's because it goes by the person. All right, so on this side, I have my left subclavian. Okay, so we have our left subclavian artery over here. And coming off my left subclavian artery, I had my left vertebral artery. I'm going to write that underneath because I have more room. Vertebral artery. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about these two vertebral arteries. Okay? So I'm going to erase this that's in the middle. I'm going to erase my carotid arteries. And basically what I want to show you is with the vertebral arteries, they're going to go up. And remember, they are in the transverse process foramen on the cervical spine. They go up the sides of the neck. If you remember when we were talking about the spine, we talked about the vertebral artery going through the transverse foramen in the cervical spine. And then these two are going to come together to form something called the basilar artery. All right, so my two vertebral arteries come together to form the basilar artery. The two vertebral arteries come together to form the basilar artery. Okay, so now let's go ahead and erase these. And now what I want to talk about is my common carotids. So actually, I'm just going to erase this. So remember, this is my left common carotid, and this is my right common carotid. All right, because what I'm going to do now is I am going to erase all this, and we're just going to talk about the common carotids. You may be wondering why, if this is in the center, is it called the left? Because it's going to go up and it's on the left-hand side of your neck. So let's go ahead and erase this. All right. And now, what's going to happen with my common carotids is they're going to come up, and I'm going to get an external carotid. So this would be my external. If you notice, I'm not calling it common carotid anymore. I'm just calling it external carotid. And then I have my internal. And for what it's worth, I could call this my right external carotid and my right internal. Okay? And Now, I have on my left side, I'm going to have the external carotid, and my internal carotid. So this is my left internal carotid, this is my right internal carotid. Now the internal carotid is going to go up and it is going to split into the anterior cerebral artery. I should have an E right there. All right, these are my anterior cerebral arteries. And then these are going to be my middle vertebral artery. I'm sorry, cerebellar artery. Okay, the middle cerebral artery and the middle cerebral artery. Okay, and that's going to be those there. All right, and so that's basically the veins of the neck that we're going to be talking about. Okay, so just to reiterate and to summarize, it's going to be like this. My two vertebral arteries, come together to make the basilar artery. My common carotids split into the external common carotid or external carotid and my internal carotid. Okay, and then the internal is going to split into my anterior cerebral artery and my middle cerebral artery. Okay, and that's it for the veins of the neck.